getting into talking about data a little more. In the book, there is a whole section where you talk about selecting the right KPIs or the right metrics. And then what blew my mind is you talking about how do you go from having the right KPIs to narrowing it down to what you called the KLPIs, the key leading performance indicators. Can you talk a little bit about that in a little more detail?
Yeah. And so this was inspired by, as a little anecdote, of when I moved to Turkey in 2008, 2009. So down our street was the Turkish branch of a very famous top six in the world car manufacturer. And so this was 2008. So this was in a time where brands were spending very little of their marketing budget online. And so lots of kind of brand gurus said, look, consumers are spending so much time online and you're only spending this much on online marketing that, that must be wrong. And so when I did analysis on the return on investment online versus offline, it always came out that online marketing had more return on investment. So for every dollar or euro you spend, you get more back. But of course I was thinking, well, that's because, brands only spend 2%, right? So if they would spend a lot more, diminishing returns would set in and you wouldn't see that. So this was a company that spent in 2009, I think 40% of all the budget on just its Facebook page, just that one. And so it was only kind of, I think, the sixth or seventh car manufacturer in the country, but it had the best automotive site on Facebook. And Facebook was very important in Turkey. At that moment, Turkey was the third biggest country on Facebook. And so this was all fantastic.
How long ago was this?
This is now 11 years ago. So,
Okay.
so that's, so this was at the time also when if you got the Facebook Live, it was actually worth something. Yeah. Because if you would then kind of put things on your Facebook page, Facebook would show it to most of your followers. That has completely changed later on, as you know. But so they were reaching lots of people, they got all of these compliments, and their sales didn't go up. So they're like, oh my God, what's going on? And so they looked at engagement on their Facebook page and so forth, and so nothing really strong. And I'm like, but wait a minute, let's take a step back. What do people really have to do before they buy your brand? And they said, well, they really need to have a test drive. So this is just, knowledge of the industry, right? So without the test drive, people don't buy your brand. I'm like, okay, let's check. If you have more engagement on Facebook, do you get more test drives? And we didn't. So I'm like, well, test drives are a very important KPI. It's a leading indicator of your sales, but your Facebook engagement is not a leading indicator of your test drives. So there is something wrong. And then you can dig deeper, right? Maybe it's the wrong people. Maybe the people who love you on Facebook can't even afford to buy your brand. Maybe kind of they love the entertainment value, but it's not really featuring high in their decision to which car brand to buy. So then you can dig deeper and talk about things like audience and creative. But so just showing that so advertising online goes up, you do get more Facebook engagement, but you don't get more test drives later on. That was a key way that they showed that they should refocus their marketing strategy. So I like leading KPIs. Why is that, right? So if your sales go down and you have a KPI that's not leading, it can help you to diagnose the situation. But so suppose that your sales go down and your Google searches go down at the same point. So it's kind of interesting as a diagnosis, but it doesn't help you to stop the situation from happening. Whereas if I have an indicator that says, well, if that one goes down, then 3 months later your sales will go down, then you as a manager can do something to stop that. So it's a flag for action. And so I like to have metrics that explain a lot in your goal, but also metrics that change before your ultimate hard metrics like sales